Hi guys, mayong buntag sa tanan, and this video will be a continuation of the trial balance nga na-discuss na nato from the last video. Okay. So, allow me to share before I start the discussion. No? So, for you to have a better grasp on this topic right now, it is important nga balikan ninyo tong mga discussion on the journal entries, the ledger, and then the trial balance because again, this will be the continuation of it para tuloy-tuloy ta sa ato ang accounting cycle. Okay? Okay? So, we actually left off here. So, muna siya ang last nato nga na-discuss in relation to the trial balance. So, this time, I have included some additional information for our adjusting entries nga isumpay nato dito sa trial balance. So, if you are not yet familiar with adjusting entries, please do watch the last two videos that we have on adjusting entries. So we only have 4 items here. The first one would be of the existing accounts receivable, 3,000 is deemed to be uncollectible. So if we go to our trial balance, the existing accounts receivable is 14,000 pesos debit. However, we will not be utilizing that one because ang given is 3,000. Okay? Dili siya in percentage. But if the given is in percentage, then you have to take into account how much is the accounts receivable that is on the trial balance. So, for the adjusting entry, we'll have bad debts expense, or I normally use doubtful accounts. Doubtful accounts. So we have 3,000 pesos. And then for our credit, we have allowance for doubtful accounts. So we are using the allowance method. 3,000 pesos. Yeah. So to record the uncollectible accounts. Okay, so that's the first entry. So we have recorded a doubtful accounts expense. So that's debit, and then we credited allowance for doubtful accounts. Take note, this is a contra asset account. Normal balance is credit. Now, the second item, the remaining supplies amounted to 5%. Again, it is already given. The amount is already given and not in percentage. Therefore, we don't need to refer it sa tuang trial balance. For purposes of discussion, we have an existing supplies daw ng 9,000 pesos, and upon checking at the end of the period, ang nabili na lang daw kay 5,000. Okay, so correction, we have to refer it sa trial balance di because what is given is the remaining supplies. So ang atong previously recorded supplies is 9,000 pesos. Ang nabili na lang daw is 5,000 pesos. Therefore, it was recorded previously at 9,000. Ang nabili na lang is 5,000. Therefore, we need to deduct 4,000 pesos to make our balance correct. So, since na may nagamit, we will be assuming na na-consume or nagamit ang katong maong 4,000. Therefore, we will be recording supplies expense 4,000 pesos. And then, from 9,000, we have to reduce it to 5,000 pesos. Ito ang supplies. Therefore, we have to credit supplies 4,000 pesos. The record usage of supplies. Okay, next would be the equipment was purchased January 1 with a 5,000 salvage value. The said equipment has a useful life of 5 years. So let us go first to our trial balance. So NATA equipment amounting to 50,000 pesos. And as a review, in order to compute for the depreciation, purchase cost, less the salvage value, we will arrive at the depreciable cost. And then depreciable cost divided by the useful life, we will be arriving at the annual depreciation. It is also important to take note the purchase date and the reporting date. Okay? So January 1 daw gipalit, and then we'll be making adjustment at the end of the year. Therefore, it will need a whole year of the depreciation. So again, let's compute. Purchase price is 50,000 less the salvage value of 5,000. Therefore, the depreciable amount is 45 divided by the useful life of 5 years. Therefore, the annual depreciation of the equipment is 9,000. Again, no need to compute for how many months because 1 year man siya. Ipalit siya January 1, mag-adjusting entry ta December 31. So, debit, depreciation expense, 9,000 pesos. And then, credit, accumulated depreciation, 9,000 pesos. To record, depreciation of equipment. And then lastly, the note payable was dated January 1 with an interest of 5% to be paid on maturity date. So this entails an accrued income. So trial balance again, check how much is our note payable. Okay, note payable is 15. So take note that this is a liability. Therefore, the interest that we will be computing is an expense and not an income. So, ano ito? 15,000. So let's compute. The principal is 15,000. Tapos, the interest rate is 5%. Good for 1 year. Therefore, na ay 750 nga interest. Take note, since the note is payable, the interest that we'll be computing is an expense. So, 750. Interest, debit, interest expense, 750, in credit, interest payable, or accrued interest payable. So, to record, accrued interest. So, if you have questions as to the adjusting entry, feel free to type it down sa comment section and I'll gladly answer them. Now, just like in the journal entries, nag-i-add to sa ledger and then in the trial balance, the same lang po ang mahitabo diri sa atuang adjusting entries. However, since gamay lang man ang mga accounts ani and wala may nagbalik-balik ng mga accounts, then we can just plot them directly at the trial balance starting with the doubtful accounts. So if you notice sa ato ang adjustment column or sa trial balance, wala tayo doubtful accounts and wala po tayo allowance for doubtful accounts. Therefore, we'll just have to add additional account item. So, doubtful accounts and then allowance for doubtful accounts. Okay? Doubtful accounts, debit 3,000 and then credit 3,000. 3,000, 3,000. Okay, next. We have supplies expense and supplies. So instead of adding additional account title, we just have to plot them sa trial balance because this account title is already existing sa atoang trial balance. Supplies expense, sana to debit? Debit, 4,000. And then sa supplies, 4,000. Next, depreciation expense. So far, ano ba tayo depreciation? Wala. Depreciation expense and then accumulated depreciation. How much? 9,000 pesos. both for debit and credit. Then, lastly, we have the interest expense and interest payable. Wala tayo interest expense, wala po tayo interest payable. Interest expense, interest payable, 700 pesos. Okay, so we're done plotting with our adjustments sa trial balance. So, total lang natin sila. Ayan. First one lang. Okay, anong dili balance? Because wala kaabot dito sa taas ang atoang. So let's just drag it up. So, ayan, balance ng atoang adjustment column. So after computing for the after plot at tawag nito, after transferring our adjusting entries to our adjustment column, we can now compute for the adjusted trial balance. So sa adjusted trial balance, ang ginabuhat na nato diri is take the balance in the unadjusted, then plus or minus it sa adjustment. So kung debit siya diri and then debit po siya sa adjustment, we just add them up and then put the amount sa adjusted trial balance. However, if they have different balances, like for example, sa supplies, debit siya diri credit siya diri then we deduct the adjustment. And the remainder will be carried over sa atuang adjusted trial balance. Okay, so let's start. For the cash, no adjustment. Copy lang. Accounts receivable, no adjustment. Supplies, so 9,000 debit, 4,000 credit, then the remaining 5,000. Equipment, this is now. Accounts payable, take note accounts payable is credit. Therefore, pag abot sa adjusted trial balance, it should also be credited. Okay. Okay. So, for example, supplies expense, debit, and then there's an adjustment of debit. So, we add them together. Okay, ayaw ni apil So, this is not included when we transfer it sa ang adjusted trial balance. Then, we have the doubtful accounts. So, 0 man sa dire. Then, there's a debit. Then, debit. Debit. So, basically, transfer na lang ang ito ang other adjustments. And then, total. Okay, dili siya. Just for paste the formula. Sir, dili lagi balance. Because just like kanina, sa atong formula na ay wala na apel. So, I guess kani. So, let's drag them up para ma-apel ang nasa taas. So, with that, you can see na balance na ang ito ang unadjusted adjustment as well as the adjusted trial balance. So, that's the end for this video. And if you have questions, feel free to type it down sa comment section. So that's it. Thank you so much and have a good day.